Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Can y'all see and hear me? Can y'all see and hear me? Just type Y for yes and for no. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. All right, all praise. So there is a slight delay. So all praises. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's send up prayers. All right. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory. O Heavenly Father, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we come before you today for Thanksgiving, that you've given us this wisdom and understanding in these last days so that we may get it right. I also pray for the daily bread, that your mighty word is able to go out without void and touch their spirits and change their minds accordingly. I also pray for the remission of sin, that we fall from us all sins of wickedness, malice, covetousness, evil speaking, doubt, envy, lust, all these things that go against your law, statutes, and commandments. We pray that you remove that far from us today. In my son, name Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. All right, shalom, 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 Israel. Hey, y'all got me again. All right. So, like I said before, there was a class that I was doing earlier, so I'm gonna continue it because it's a big topic. All right. So it's called covert covetous. It's gonna be covert covetous part 2. All right. So the purpose of this class is, again, to identify the different forms of the spirit of covetousness and the broadness of how far it spans. All right. So it's really to enhance our skills and to enhance our spiritual skills to identify these spirits that's on us so we can then fix it. That's what it's all about. It's all about fixing ourselves before Christ comes. And, you know, as y'all been seeing the fire classes that the bishop has been coming out with, hey, times is close. So it's time for us to change ourselves, all right? So times is a nearing, all right? So let's start off first. I love starting off with this scripture because, you know, it's very reminiscent. I'm gonna actually show y'all something, Israel, that how we're gonna read the Bible today. We're gonna jump through a lot of time, all right? All right, just to get some lessons. So we're going to Romans 15:4. Let us start there first, and then we'll go through a recap of what we went through the last class. I know it was many teachers before me, so just to refresh the brothers and sisters, all right? So, Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Okay, so I love this scripture because it actually shows us that we're supposed to learn from past events. All right? So it says, for whatsoever things are written aforetime, meaning written before we were born, were written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So the things that are written aforetime, or before our own existence on this earth at this time, was written from us to learn from. So we peer into the past to then set up our present to live a better future. So we're actually going to go through the Bible today, of course, and go through the past to actually show how we can live a better future today and learn from certain lessons from the past, so we're not doomed to repeat it. All right, especially the wicked lessons. All right, now real quick recap, Israel. So again, we was going over covert covetous pertaining to material desires, social recognition, talents and abilities, and life experiences. All right, so we're still in material desires. That's how much it is. All right, so a quick recap. We went into materialistic or material possession and wealth. All right, and we went through history. We went through the book of Joshua, and then came all the way up through Kings. The brother that we pulled out of history in Joshua was Achan, all right? The Judite that lusted or coveted after the Babylonian garment, the gold and the silver, causing some of our brothers and sisters to get killed in the process. And the Lord dealt with him accordingly. But we read his history to show the level of covetousness that he had on him. And then fear set in not to even go into the judgment. All right. So now we went over Ahab and Jezebel. They also had forms of covetousness on them. And they had it. It was a king and a queen. But the king and the queen, even though they had everything, they had an excessive desire to get. So with that excessive desire, they actually killed their brother in the process. And let me make it clear, Jezebel is not a people. So she had our brother killed. But Ahab didn't stop her. So he was just as guilty, especially him being the lord of that house. He was just as guilty with the actions of his wife. So they died a horrible death. Jezebel died with her being thrown out the window, and the dogs ate her body. And Ahab died in the midst of battle with an arrow to the side of the torso. We also read about Ananias and Sapphira, how they lied and tried to defraud their brother in the midst of distribution of property. And with them lying about distribution of property, what happened to them? They died. So I wanted to bring that out because before sin happens, especially if you marry, 9 times out of 10, your spouse is in proximity of you. Your spouse does support, or they're supposed to hold you according to the law. And that's what we're going to go in a little bit today. But they're supposed to. But if not, both parties are guilty of the judgment. All right. So if you have a husband or a wife that is wavering, these type of classes, hey, y'all need to know what are y'all error. What is your error? What is it in? And then you can fix it. All right. So now we're still in material desires, but we're going to go into a very popular topic. It's really food. All right. So materialistic desires going into food. This form of covetousness is called what? Gluttony. All right. So gluttony is something that we suffer with, especially here in the States. They have the SAD diet, where you eat 3 times a day, at least 3 times a day. Then you have that pyramid of death, where they have like a whole bunch of grain that you're getting at the very bottom, and at the very top is oils and sugars. I think they changed it around, but it's still the SAD diet, the standard American diet. And that is what's killing us over here. So let's get into that real quick so we can commence with covert covetousness, all right? Because I'm showing you everybody has forms of covetousness on them. It's just which form, how do I identify it, and then how do I fix it, all right? So we're going into food or gluttony. All right. Let me start off with Leviticus 11:46. Let's get to the law first. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 46. Hold on. Okay. Verse 46. This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beasts that may be eaten and the beasts that may not be eaten. So, when it comes down to the dietary law, we got it in the bag. I mean, I don't think most brothers and sisters struggle with eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. And, I'm just saying for the majority of us, I don't think that we struggle with that so much. But what we do struggle with is the moderation of eating. And what do I mean by the moderation of eating? That means controllable eating. All right, let's get it. We're going to Sirach chapter 31, verse 16. All right. Bear with me, Israel. Take you on a time traveling journey. So we're going to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 31, chapter 31, verse 16. And it says, "Eat, as it becometh a man, those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. Leave off first for manner's sake, and be not unsatiable, lest thou offend." So, what does it mean by unsatiable? Unsatiable is that gluttony, that desire to eat more than what you need to. So now it's giving us two things. It's giving us moderation, and it's giving us morals of how we act one towards another when it's dealing with food. Even though the food is lawful, there's still a certain limit of what you can eat. So let's see that limit. I'm going to read 17 again. "Leave off for manners' sake." See, manners. God even shows us manners on how to eat and how not to eat. "And be not unsatiable, lest thou offend. When thou sittest among many, reach not thine hand out first of all." So just think about me personally. I love Mediterranean, but I would say, let's say it's a dish that you're eating with your hands, and let's say everybody was there, and who haven't tried it yet, Ethiopian food, off the chain. Just saying, just saying. So let's say all of us are there, right? We're in the midst of eating, and then we have, big fat brother. He reaching over everybody to get to the food first. How does that look? And then let's say big fat brother, he reach over the when the food gets there, he's already reaching in. So one, everybody looking at you crazy because you didn't even have enough manners to think about your brother first. You thought about self. So there's a lot that goes into that eating. Mind you, when I mentioned last class that when sin or covetousness jump on you, it's a spirit of hunger. That's what it feels like. It feels like a craving that you need to satisfy this appetite. So let's get that first. In Ecclesiasticus 18:30. All right? Ecclesiasticus 18, verse 30. "Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetite." So you see in that verse, it relays lust to an appetite. So now, like I said, I'm going to say it again. When covetousness jump on you, it feels as if you're in hunger of something to satisfy that taste, whatever it may be. Maybe food. I know a lot of us have the sensation of when we have a sweet tooth, or when we want something that we really want to eat, we just eat it. That's how that sin feels. That's how that spirit of covetousness feels on you. But it's just interpreted different ways. It's the same feeling though. It feels like you need to do it. It goes into the materialistic gains where you go into possession and wealth. You wanna get more money, so then you start to defraud your brother. You start to steal. You start to break God's law to do that thing. So before it happens, it's a thirst or an appetite. I'm gonna read again. Ecclesiasticus chapter 18, verse 30. "Go not after thy lusts, but refrain thyself from thine appetite. If thou givest thy soul the desire that please her, she will make thee a laughingstock to thine enemy that malign thee." So I want you to really think about that. When you give yourself over to this covetousness, whether it may be gluttony, since we're talking about it now, let's stick there first. You give yourself over to gluttony, because we always refer this scripture to lust, like sexual lust. But that lust is open. It's not just sexual. It means all manner of covetousness. So you give yourself over to gluttony. Now, the second part has to go out. It says, "If thou givest thy soul the desire that please her, she will make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies that malign thee." So my question is, who's going to be the enemy that goes against you when you then go into gluttony? It's actually going to be the leadership, your brothers and your sisters. They're going to be going against you. Why? Because you are going to get against the law. You're going against God's commandment. So now you are an enemy to God's people now, because now you're in the midst of sin. So that's going to be the main people that go against you. Why are they going against you? Because you are going contrary to God's commandments. Going contrary to God's commandments is what led us here in captivity. That is that simple. So now, going back to Ecclesiasticus. Wait. No. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus 31 now. All right. I'm going to start over to refresh the point. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 verse 16. Eat as it becometh a man, those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. So you know that devouring, you just eating uncontrollably with anything in front of you, messy, looking crazy, right? We're not supposed to eat like that, all right? Verse 17, leave off first for manners sake, and be not insatiable lest thou offend. When thou sittest among many, reach not thine hand out first of all. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed. So this is showing you how amazing God made our bodies. Esau tries to say that you need 3 meals a day. You need all this, the orange juice, all this processed stuff that they make. All that stuff was propaganda. I'm gonna just be real with y'all. It was propaganda. It was propaganda to lead you into gluttony, but at the same time, it was propaganda to kill your behind. Esau knows our law. Trust me, he knows our law. Matter of fact, let me pause right there. Let me get where he knows our law from. We're gonna go to Psalm 64 real quick. Real quick. It's an audible. Psalms chapter 64 verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? So now we see that this is the mindset of Esau. They commune, meaning they get together. They have these think tanks. And they plan to lay traps for the children of Israel secretly. What are one of those traps that people ain't going to look at? Food. That's a trap. Think about it, Israel. Why is it when you turn on the television or you're on the internet? Because I don't have any like cable or anything here. I just do everything from the internet. So let's say you're on the internet and you're on YouTube. Why is it you've been bombarded with ad after ad after ad? And then these ads, it's a lot of food commercials, all this stuff. Why do you think that is? Do you really think they care about if you're hungry or not? You think that they're trying to end world hunger? No. They're trying to keep you in the spirit of gluttony. They're trying to keep you in that spirit so then, 1, you sin before your God, and 2, they can kill you off. And then most of the food that at the fast food places, it ain't real anyway. Just be real, Israel. It ain't real. It's not real. So now it says, lay snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. So if this man can search out sin, what is sin? The transgression or the breaking of God's law. So if they can search out different ways of how the children of Israel can break God's law, you really don't think they did a diligent search in food? Even the food that we eat is mixed with so many different chemicals that can destroy the body, that our body can't even break down. So yes, they do know about our law. They know that. Let me finish that out. This is Psalm 64 verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So it's showing you the mindset of Esau. How are they deep though? You'll have, especially if y'all work around Esau, y'all know what I mean. Want to ask you a question, take it back. And they actually relay this. It's like a hive mind. This is crazy. They relay this to all the other Edomites in casual Edomite conversation. Then another one will come to you. Ask a different question. Learn a little bit more about you in this way. Then they relay that back to the Edomites in Edomite banter. And then the first Edomite that you talk to knows about what you said to the other Edomite, sharing yourself in different facets. And they're very patient, just like a hunter. Very patient. So they will collect as much data as possible about somebody new, somebody that isn't familiar to them, just for the sake of knowing about it. So you have to be careful. If they do that even in conversation, how much the more with our diet? All right, so let's get back to Ecclesiasticus real quick. Ecclesiasticus chapter 31. I'm going to read verse 19 again. So a very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. So the Lord is actually showing you, you don't need 3 meals a day to live. You ain't gonna starve. 1 meal a day is good enough. It is. Our bodies are meant to survive. That's what our bodies is meant to do. If you ever look at the growth of any human, you start as a baby, and then when you start to reach the ages of 20 to like 35, that's your developing years into your golden years, where you are at optimum performance. Our bodies are actually meant to move. That's what it's meant to do. Think about the laws that the Lord made. I'm going on a tangent real quick, Israel. Just to prove a point. Let's go to Genesis real quick. This has nothing to do with my notes. And I have a lot of notes as it is. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 9, verse 4, real quick. Genesis chapter 9, verse 4. Well, let's start at verse 3. It says, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. So this is the diet change that the Lord gave us back in Genesis 9. Before then, before Genesis 9, we was all eating plants. We was eating the vegetation of the earth. So no, the what is that? Yeah, y'all crazy brothers and sisters. I was thinking that it's marijuana. No. Why don't y'all put poison ivy in that? It's still a herb. But I digress. So, verse 4, Genesis chapter 9, verse 4. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. All right, so that's just going into bloody meats, right? We're supposed to eat things that is fully cooked. And then it says the life thereof. That means the blood. So if, you know how Edomites, they be eating the blue rare steaks, they just sear it for like 30 seconds on each side. Then serve it to them, man. And when they cut into that cow, that thing's still mooing. That thing is still mooing. It's bleeding all over the place, and they think it's juices. Come on now. That's blood. But I went there to show that the blood in our body is very important. It says it's the life thereof. So outside of the spiritual context of blood, I'm going into the physical ramifications of blood. When blood flow increases, that means you are running, jogging, lifting weights. You're increasing your blood flow, naturally raising your blood pressure by intense workout, right? When that then increases, increased blood flow encourages cell reproduction or cell regeneration. That's what it does. So we are meant to move because that blood is meant to pump throughout the body and filter the body out. The circulatory system in the body is very important. It's what dispels waste out of our bodies, and then it's what brings nutrients into our bodies. And the circulatory system revolves around the blood. Just to show you how important the blood is and why it says the life thereof. It really is the life of our bodies. Kind of similar to a car and oil. If your car runs out of oil, that's it. Not the gas, the oil. Because that controls the engine itself. Once that oil is gone, the oil is almost like the blood of the car. Once that thing is gone, hey, you don't have a car no more. So, just showing you that yes, our bodies are meant to move. We are meant, the more that we move, the more that we increase our blood flow and go and our increase our the circulatory system, then we have health benefits after that. Now, let's say you do the opposite. Let's say you a slothful brother or sister. You are idle. You're not doing much. What's gonna happen? You're gonna start to have diseases, and let's get into that. Let's get into that. So now it says very little. Starting again. Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 verse 19. Now, very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed. So that fetching of the wind goes into passing gas. You're gassy because you're eating too much. That's a bad thing to do. You already know, and the Lord has given us how we can identify certain things in our body. If you're going to bed and you are putting up a storm, you probably ate too much or ate the wrong thing. All right. Verse 20. Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. But the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man. So what is that saying? It says sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. So if you are overeating, think about it. When we eat, it goes into the digestive system, right? You know that it takes energy for your body to break down food. So let's say you ate a big meal before you fell asleep. Your body is not at rest. You're not getting any sleep because your body is working to break down the food you just ate. And if you ate something spicy, you about to have some weird dreams. And then you come into leadership saying, hey, I had a dream that I was in my underwear. Then it started getting weird after that. It's like, bruh, what you eat? What'd you eat before you fell asleep? Oh yeah, I had a lot. I had a pizza with some spices and some cookies. Yeah, that was the food talking to you. A lot of y'all don't know that. Yes, you're supposed to moderately eat, moderately. So I know Captain Shim has a beautiful method of OMAD, 1 meal a day. He got that from that understanding from Deacon Asaph. I'll praise the Most High, and they're pushing it, especially to us men. So with that moderate eating, you start to feel a lot better. A lot better. You have more energy. As we can see in the scriptures, it says moderate eating, it encourages a good sleep. So now you can sleep less but have more energy. Because you're not getting, I'm just be real, you're not getting 8 hours every day. You're not doing that. No. There's 24 hours in a day, you ain't getting 8. I'm just being real, Israel. The most I get probably is like 5. That would be a good day. If I get 5 hours, right? But if I didn't eat crazy the day before, or I'm in the midst of my intermittent fasting, I feel great the next morning. So the scriptures is showing us health tips. So a person in gluttony that's always eating, that's on the seafood diet, they just gotta eat what they see. Those brothers and sisters are not gonna have good sleep. Those brothers and sisters' attitude is not gonna be good at all. Well, let's read again. It says, Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 verse 20. Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. But the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly. So what is choler? Choler is sicknesses. So, and then it says, and pangs of the belly. You have belly aches. So the Lord is actually showing us that sicknesses do reside in our gut. It resides in your intestinal system. If that is off track, if that is out of whack, you eating everything you want to eat, and you don't cleanse ever, yeah, you're gonna be sick. You're gonna start to develop these weird autoimmune diseases. And most of the time, you just need to cleanse. You need to let that trash go. Some of us been backed up for like 20 years. We never cleanse. Because we don't like to, sit on that porcelain throne after cleansing. Yes, you got to get all this stuff out of your system so your body can then start to regenerate. So it says, and pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man. So brothers and sisters that's always having the belly aches, that have to take the Pepto-Bismol all the time. You're eating too much. You're eating way too much. All you need is one meal. That's it. And you can do healthy snacks, healthy fruits, veggies. I love peanuts because it's high in protein and low in carbs. So you can healthy snack. So this is something that I'm myself even working on. I came from a large weight all the way up into the weight I'm at now. So, and this come from one, keeping God's law, and two, following the order of the leadership. Because the order of the leadership is to have you live long under God's commandments. What's wrong with that? What's wrong? And it's a brother here in Birmingham. Shout out to Soldier Judah. This brother, man, he works out like every day. No lie, every day. But he has a saying where you have to suffer. You're either going to suffer with the pains of the belly, or you're going to suffer with the hard workout, the intense workout to produce good health. So which one are you going to decide? You're going to want to have the gout and be super obese and have, be bedridden for something that you could have avoided? Or are you going to take time out of your day just to work out? 30 minutes to an hour. That's it. It ain't a lot. All right. So that's moderate eating. That goes into the form of gluttony that we all need to work on. Especially after a good feast day or a good feast week. Cleanse afterward. Cleanse. Give y'all some tips, Israel. All right. We're going to go to moderate drinking because it still goes into our dietary law. Sirach 31:27. I know when I first came into the truth, that's actually when I started drinking. And then, like, you can tell my wife, I don't drink a lot anyway. But when I found out, because in Christianity, they'll tell you, hey, drinking is a sin. But then when you start to see the scriptures and you see that, okay, Christ drunk and he drunk moderately. Our forefathers drunk the blood of the grape, which is wine and strong drinks. Then you're like, it ain't no sin. It ain't no sin to drink. But let's see where the sin lies. All right, so we're going to go to we're going to stay in the same chapter, Sirach 31. We're going to jump down to verse 27. Verse 27. Wine is as good as life to a man if it be drunken or drunk moderately. So, wine is good only if it's drunken moderately to us. So that means, can you overdrink? Yes. So if you overeat, what's the result? Pains of the belly, sickness. You have the fat brother or the fat sister, because it's excessive fat that is now being stored into the body, and then it's hurting the body, right? So now we're going into the drinking. So we're going to look at the different attributes of what overmuch drinking causes, and what form of covetousness is this? Drunkenness. So we went from gluttony, now we're going to drunkenness. Verse 27 again. Wine is as good as life to a man if it be drunk moderately. What life is it then to a man that is without wine? For it was made to make men glad. Wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. So let's break that down real quick. So it says wine measurably drunk. Well, let's go up. I'm sorry. Verse 27 at the end of it. It says, for it was made to make men glad. So wine was actually made to make men glad. In what? Feasts. So what is the health benefits of wine? Drunken moderately. Wine actually it It's a blood thinner. So with it being a blood thinner, what does that encourage? It encourages blood to circulate throughout the body quickly. That helps the circulatory system if drunk moderately. Now, and then verse 28 says, wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart. So what seasons? What seasons? That goes into the feast days. That's where the wine would be drunken at. Not you drinking it early in the morning. Let's go to Isaiah 5 real quick. Don't be this brother or sister. Ooh, please don't. Especially a drunk sister. Good Lord. That's the worst thing. All right. Isaiah chapter 5 verse 11. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue unto night, till wine inflame them. So we're not supposed to be that brother or sister where we're overmuch drinking to the point where it's destroying our mind and it's destroying us, our actions from what we're doing. We're not supposed to be that where you wake up early and you drink it early, and then when somebody questions you, like, hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world. Hey, don't be that drunken brother or that lush lavish sister. Don't be that person. All right, so we're going back to Ecclesiasticus 31:28. Wine moderately drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. But wine drunk with excess, means now you're drunk, maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling. So now this is showing you the attributes that come with overmuch drinking. Now you're going to be ready to fight somebody. Now you're in the midst of going back and forth, arguing with brothers and sisters because you drunk. Now, in the midst of tabernacles, you find yourself in your brother's tent, and then you don't even know how you got there. That stuff comes from over much drinking. That's not supposed to be done, Israel. It destroys the mind, and it's going to cause you to get the beats. Now, verse 30. Drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminishes strength and maketh wounds. So only a foolish man or woman is going to drink to drunkenness. And you know what else is going to happen? What do these spirits normally do? They normally downplay how drunk they really are. They encourage themselves to drink or eat much, but they know that they have went past their threshold. They know it. Now, if you are in the midst of drinking and somebody pull you to the side and they show some courtesy and be like, hey, I think you had enough, or I think you kind of overdoing it, you acting different. And if the next thing that comes out of your mind is I'm good, oh no, you have Satan on you. You have the drunkard spirit on you. The drink is talking. That's why it's called spirits or courage juice. You have much courage to do some crazy, foolish things. That's why, again, it says, verse 30, drunkenness increases the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminishes strength and maketh wounds. So how's it going to make wounds? When you stumbling and falling over everything, or when you offend somebody and they, dot your I and then cross them T's, called the teeth. Sometimes, hey, that's what happens. When you're drunk, hey, all manners go out the window. Now we see your true self. Verse 31. Rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine, and despise him not in his mirth. Give him no despiteful words. All right, so wait, let me break down the first part. It says, rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine, and despise him not in his mirth. So this is going into if you just being a killjoy. Nobody's drunk. Nobody is over drinking. But now Mrs. or Mr. Holier Than Thou think that you can't drink. And now they telling you, they stopping you from having a good time. This is different from pulling somebody aside if they had too many drinks. Way different. Then The last part of it, it says, and press not upon him, um, I'm sorry, give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him with urging him to drink. So this is I got a story to tell, Israel. All right. So this type of encouraging somebody to drink goes into like I know who, if you have in the back in the day seen what was that, Animal Party or Animal House or something like that. It was really a movie about partying and Esau, how they get down. And they was drinking, and they'll have the beer chug thing or the beer keg thing, and they turning it up with the little spout, and they telling them drink, drink, or chug, chug, chug. We're not supposed to encourage drunkenness in the midst of parties or having those competitions of who can drink the most, who can drink the most before they tap out. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to have that same mindset. And actually, let's get it real quick. It's still the same chapter. It's chapter 31. We're gonna move up to verse 25. It says, "Show not thy valiantness in wine, for wine have destroyed many." So, what is that valiantness? That's that boldness to keep drinking, and like, oh yeah, I could drink you under the table. If a brother or sister ever say something like that, correct them. They are in the midst of all type of drunkenness. Right there, just saying that. They may not even, it haven't even touched their lips yet. Nope. Yeah, you operate in the wrong spirit, bro. You operate in the wrong spirit, sis. You're not supposed to act bold upon, I can drink this many drinks and I'm good, I'm fine. No, because over much drinking can lead to that drunkenness. So in like manner, we're not supposed to encourage our brother or sister in the midst of a party or the feast days to drink overly. We're not supposed to do that. We already see that it plagues the mind, it destroys our mind, and then it causes wounds as well. So let's get some more on that though. We have Sirach 28. Sirach 28. No. I'm not gonna go into that. All right. So now we have moderation of eating. Then we have moderation of drinking. And then we went to Sirach 18, 30 and 31 to show it can embarrass you. It can embarrass everybody around you when you're in the midst of drunkenness. You're not supposed to do that. So let's go to one resolution for moderate eating, right? You can increase your fasting as well. This is one resolution. Let's go to Jonah chapter 3, verse 7. Let's show one form of fasting. Jonah chapter 3, verse 7. I'm tripping. It's in the minor prophets. After Obadiah. There we go. Jonah chapter 3, verse 7. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water. So this is a form of fasting where you are denying yourself food and water. We also go into Day of Atonement. Day of Atonement goes into where we are denying ourselves or afflicting our souls with no food, no water, right? Now, with denying ourselves these things, what are we showing ourselves that what we can do? We can deny sin. Because I'm telling you, sin feels like the spirit of covetousness. Covetous feels is a strong desire to want or do something. Now, if you can deny the sensation of eating, you can then practice on that same sensation of breaking away from other facets that causes that spirit to rile up. So fasting, yes, fasting can increase or increase your moderation of eating. You can do, like I kept mentioning, 1 meal a day, and then you have an intermittent fast for about, what is it? It's 16 hours. Yeah, you can do 16 hours or you can do 21 hours, depending on what you're trying to, how effective you're trying to make it. But it's different ways of how you can alleviate health with moderate eating, with moderate drinking. Drink at feast days. Yeah, you can. That's what it says, seasonally. So if you can drink in season, every season we have a new moon. Okay, you have a Sabbath day. You have the three major high holy days of the year. We have holidays all over the year. And when I mean holidays, I'm talking about holy days. Hey, come on, Israel. Let's be real. I ain't talking about no holidays. Holy days are holidays. That's what holly means. It's holy. So holidays such as the new moons, the Sabbaths, things like that. You can drink. You can have you a cup of wine. You can or your strong drink, but don't do it so much where your body is dependent on it. Don't do it to the point where it's common practice to where you just throwing them back. Don't do that. All right. That's enticing that covetous spirit of drunkenness, and we're not supposed to be drunkards. Let's go to an example real quick. We're going to go to Daniel chapter 1 verse 15 or 1 verse 6, just to go into the health benefits of changing your diet just a little bit. Daniel, okay, Daniel chapter 1, I'm going to start at verse 6. All right, so it says, now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the princes of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and of Mishael of Meshach, and of Azariah Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So Daniel is not defiling himself with the king's meats. Why though? Why? All right, I want to get into this real quick. The king offered these meats up to false idols. We're going to go to Bel and the Dragon real quick, just to kind of show the history. Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 3. All right. Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 3. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Baal, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it, and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, why dost not thou worship Baal? Who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who have created the heaven and the earth, and have sovereignty over all flesh. So now, I want to get into, verse 6. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? All right, so now we see in verse 3, the king of the Babylonians, he offered food and wine to this idol. So now, going back to Daniel, the reason that he refrained himself from eating this meat was particularly not to be into representation to serve another god, serving meats offered unto idols. So when you hear Paul talk about this, this is where he's getting his history from. That this is where some of the Pharisees were practicing, where they would refrain from eating things sacrificed unto idols out of Daniel's sake, out of his example. But let's see the things that Daniel did take out of this, because yes, he did it to refrain from eating things offered up to idols, but it was actually some health tips that he actually took from this. So I'm gonna jump down. No, I'm gonna just keep reading. Verse 9. Daniel chapter 1 verse 9. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should ye see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. So now we see that the king of Babylon issued a diet. So I want to bring this up to today. We live in spiritual Babylon, and the kings or the nobles, the people with influence, they have issued out a diet for the children of Israel, and it's called the sad diet. And that sad diet is not good for us at all. Just in like manner, the king of Babylon issued a dietary law for the children of Israel that they captured, and it wasn't good for us then. So repentance is a very big thing. It's a very big term. Even though it's a small word, it's a very big term, because it goes to repenting from your meats, it goes into repenting from certain actions, it goes into changing yourself all the way around. So, in like manner, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar did it, so as today. They're doing the same thing. All right, verse 11. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. So pulse is going to herbs, and pulse was a particular herb that they that you can eat. It was along the water. I know it's a lot of health benefits behind it. I wish I could show a picture to y'all, but yes, it was. You can look it up. It was a actual plant called pulse, or herbs. But now they're eating herbs and drinking water. And Daniel's saying, hey, give us 10 days. Just put us on this diet for 10 days and let's see what happens. So let's see what happened. Verse 13. Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this manner, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. So now we actually see that this was a diet. This was a diet. They changed their diet to herbs, more water, and now it was 10 days. And I want to ask y'all this, Israel. Why is it that most cleanses only need 10 to 14 days to happen? It's just showing you how the body works. You need about 10 to 14, about half a month, for your body to really acclimate to this new change of the diet. And then once it starts to acclimate, what's going to happen? It's going to cleanse itself. It's going to push out all the impurities that you put in it. That's why Daniel, Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah, that's why their face was looking more healthier, because they changed their diet. And again, we're in the SAD diet, the standard American diet. It's called SAD. Yes, it's meant to make you sad. I know a lot of Judah, they love the soul food. Hey, that soul food gonna make you looking at your soul pretty soon. You keep eating it. It's called soul food for a reason now. I ain't saying You can't eat it, but don't eat it every day. I'm not saying that you can't eat sweets, but don't eat it every day. Don't make it a provision to make your diet a lot better. We see an example that Daniel set forth outside of refraining from eating God's offer to idols. The point is that he changed the diet. And now let's see what else happened. Verse 16. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. So now he showed an example to Melzar, which was the prince of the eunuchs. He's the chief of the eunuchs. So now with him being in that stead, he actually see the benefits that this diet has on them. Now he changed everybody else's diet to that. And now he has proof based off a trial session by Daniel and his brothers. So how much more us? We can live longer, be stronger, all this stuff for a lot longer if we treat our bodies right and not fall into gluttony and not fall into drunkenness. Because again, gluttony destroys our body. It causes certain diseases to flare up. That's where, let me get, what was that, Job 13:4? Job 13:4, about I'm going more so on the diseases flaring up and what we do as a people because we lack the knowledge of God. Because we lack the knowledge of God, hey, we fall directly in the hands of our enemy every single time. And because of that, they destroy us every single time. Job chapter 13, verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. So then we start to turn to the pharmaceutical companies. We start to turn to different medicines. Not even medicine. I'm just say drugs. We turn to certain drugs that if we were to eat right, we wouldn't need them. If we were to eat right now and do our due diligence to live right, we wouldn't need all that stuff. But because of the sad diet, it causes diseases and color. Now we thinking that, oh, it's just age now. No. This thing can be circumvented if you were to change your diet. Now, let's go into some more stuff. Now we're on to point 2 of the class, which is social recognition. And we're going to go into recognition and relationships. How we desire those things to the point where we go off into sin because of it. All right. So I'm going to define recognition. Recognition is identification of someone or something or a person from previous encounters or knowledge. Acknowledgement of someone's existence or validation, right? So, when were we given our identity? This is a question. When were we given our identity? Because recognition goes very hand in hand to identifying. If you ever look at the root of recognition, is recognize. To recognize anything is to conceive or have an identity related to what you're looking at. Is to identify something. So, our identity given. Let's get some scripts on that. Genesis 32:24. So we're going down another facet of covetousness. And it goes into social recognition. All right. We're going to go to Genesis 32:24 real quick. All right. Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him unto the breaking of the day. And then he saw that he prevailed not against him. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So now, a lot of us don't really read the history of our forefather Jacob. Our forefather Jacob was not a pushover. yes, he was a farmer and he tended to the cattle. That was one of his gifts. But there is an account that Jacob moved a stone from the well that it took 3 to 4 men to move. So he had the strength of 3 to 4 men. And then he moved it like it was nothing. A lot of us don't read those little fine details of our forefathers, the different attributes. We always refer to Samson for the strength. But Jacob was a strong man too. Our forefather Jacob was a very strong man. I'm talking about strong, as in like picking up oxen. You know them the country boy strong. They just strong for no reason. You're like, where you get the strength from? Jacob was like that. Jacob had strength where enough strength to move that that stone from the well. And then he had enough strength to even wrestle an angel? What? And then look at it. It says, verse 26, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. Who is saying, let me go? The angel is saying, let me go. That's how much strength Jacob had to hold him. They're wrestling, so he was holding him. Now, it says, and he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with man, and hast prevailed. So that's what the name Israel means. Prince has power with God. Now, that's a very strong name. Jacob got that name for wrestling the angel. And mind you, the word Jacob means supplanter. How did he supplant? He was able to, he was living up to his name by getting the birthright. Getting the birthright over Esau. And how did he get that? It was really through prophecy. It was showed to his mother, and then his mother told him what to do, to talk to his father, to get the birthright. And then Esau didn't even care for the birthright in the first place. So with all that, now we see identity is being formed. And identity goes with the name of things. So be careful what you name your children, Israel, because you are identifying them too. You're putting an identity on them. And some of us say, sometimes the name be too great. Well, we quite the opposite of it. And then sometimes the name be too much, where you become a wicked interpretation of that name. Like naming your son like the venom of God or something like that. Your son be rambunctious and rebellious. Oh man, it's terrible. Or like in the world, I used to hear parents name their children after drinks. I remember it was a brother called Cavassier, or we call him Cavassi, and it was like, where you get your name from? It's like, yeah, my mom, she loved Cavassier, so she named me after that. It's like, dang, she named you after a drink? Hey, she fell in love with that drink, and then when she had a son, now your drunk behind named your son after your favorite drink. That's a shame. It's a shame. All right, so let's go to Psalms 105 verse 6. 105 verse 6. 105 verse 6. All right. So this is going back into that recognition, or that recognition of our forefathers. It says, O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. Which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. Now, this is going into the esteem, or that recognition, going from our forefathers all the way down to the children. So it always starts with you. Always starts with you. Always. Then you build a name up for yourself. Then your example should radiate between your family. You then have that good report in the congregation or in the body amongst your family. Then when your sons start to have sons and daughters, or when your daughters are married off and they start to bridge families, now you are of a good report. Now you're of a good name, a good report, because this that we know that this person is of a good stock because they come from this line or this family or this brother's house, or now you built recognition for yourself. In like manner, the same thing happened with us. Our forefather Jacob, his name was changed to Israel. Then certain feats in his life, he caused us to be born. That's why we're called the Israelites. Always remember that. We're called the Israelites because we stem from the man Israel. ITE just means that you stem from the man or your native to the people. Israeli is quite different. That means you're an occupant of the land. Doesn't mean that you're an Israelite. Doesn't mean that you are a true born Jew. You're not. So that's the difference between Israelite, Israeli. And I'm going to show with our recognition us being given this thing. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Let's go there first. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. So this is more recognition that was given to us. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So if we are above everybody, that means that there's going to be certain laws or certain rules that we have to live by that set us apart from everybody else. God clearly said that he set us on high above all people on the face of the planet. So that means that our diet is going to be different. Our customs are going to be different. Our dress code is going to be different. Our mannerisms is going to be different. Judgment and equity is going to be different than other nations. They don't have a lick of judgment or equity. They don't. Now, the judgment system here is all about emotion. If you can sway the emotion of the jury, you can win judgment or you can lose one, depending on how powerful your persuasion was over whatever the evidence that was drawn out or whatever it is. It's not based on truth. It's based on the swing of emotions. That has nothing to do with equity. So that's why we are set apart. That's why we are holy. But my question is, what happened? What happened? What happens? What happened to us being set upon high? Are we above everybody right now? No, we're not. We're not. This is what happened. So now I'm going into our identity taken. This goes into recognition. This goes into social recognition. All right. So our identity taken. All right. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 28 verse 15 first. Deuteronomy 28:15. Because there are certain things that happen to us to cause us to leave our recognition. So Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So for a curse to overtake anything or anybody ain't a good thing. It ain't. It's horrible. So that means it's going to overtake you to the point where it destroys you. Now let's get some more. Deuteronomy 28:45. Let's see where we erred in. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Because, so now here's the why. Here is the why are these curses coming upon us. Why are we being destroyed because of these things? Because Thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. So now we're being punished and destroyed by these curses because we refuse to keep God's commandments. Think about it. If we're not keeping God's commandments, whose commandments are we keeping? I told a brother, I was like, hey, the Lord knows us. He knows us. We are rebellious. We just a rebellious people. We either going to do one or two things. We're going to be rebellious to the point where we rebel against the other nations and keep God's commandments, or we're going to rebel against God and keep the other nations' commandments. But we still are working in that spirit of rebellion. God knows his people. We are rebellious. We are very rebellious people. We either be rebellious in the sense of rebellious against the nations and keep God's commandments wholeheartedly, or the other, the latter, be rebellious against God and keep the nation's laws. What do you think we chose? What do you think this rebellious nation of Israel chose? We chose to keep the other nation's commandments versus our God. So, what else happened to us? I want to go to Judges. It's an example in Judges, chapter 2, verse 1 through 4. This example is going to show what our mindset is like. Let me see. I think I passed it. Yes, I did. All right, Judges chapter 2. All right, so Judges chapter 2, verse 1. And an angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt and have brought you unto the land, which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Ye shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your side, and their God shall be a snare unto you. So now it's showing the ramifications of breaking God's law. God gave us strict commandments to go into the land, destroy everything, destroy the altars, all this of the other nations. We refused to do so because when you read before, we was like, we can make some money off this. We was putting people in captivity and getting tributaries or charging taxes. Nah, it wasn't even about that. God gave us strict commandments, but he also gave a twofold commandment. He was like, hey, if you were not to do this, this is what's going to happen. They're going to be a snare unto you. And how were they a snare? We start to like their ways. We was getting enticed with their ways and their God's practices and following after them. So now who are we going against? We're going against our God. Let's see one of the ramifications. Verse 3. Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in thy side, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. So that's going to be the trap unto us, their gods. Remember, they are gods. And the Lord is going to keep them close in our proximity. Verse 4. And it came to pass, when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. So now, it's like, oh Lord, what have we done? But it's like, come on, bro. You're not sincere. Stop. You got the commandment and you wanted to do your own thing in the first place. You wasn't sincere. You wasn't. Because if you was, you would just follow the commandment. It's just that simple. So because we wasn't sincere at this time, because we went off, and now we're not destroying the nations that we was commanded to destroy at this time. What happened? This is our identity being taken slowly. Now we're going into the other nations' practices versus our gods. And trust me, every nation is a inverted evil version of the God of Israel. All other nations' gods have a dietary law. All other nations' gods have a dress code, have a moral law, have ceremonial rights. All of them have the same thing. Even though that they're false, they all have the same thing. And all of them are inverse to the God of Israel. If God say, hey, I don't want you cross-dressing, Deuteronomy 22:5, this is a law not to cross-dress. You know what the other nations God's going to do? You can cross-dress. you can dress. It's no matter. It don't matter. It's just clothes. They're all inverted evil versions. All of them. Think about it. Our dietary law. God said, eat. These animals are clean. These animals are unclean. What the other nations God gonna do? You can eat all things. All things was created from the heaven. All things was created from our gods. So it must be good. Come on now. And then with even going back to gluttony, you're serving another God. You're serving another God. Because God tells you, hey, eat moderately. Nah, I love the chicken though. The chicken tastes so good in my teeth. No. Every law that we break, we're serving another God. I really want y'all to notice that, Israel. And what form of covetousness does this go into? Idolatry. Idolatry. Serving of other gods, other idols, things of that nature. It's all the same. But I'm showing you different forms of the same spirit of covetousness, how it goes through different forms. Now, also, God said that there was going to be a snare, a trap. So now that we are worshiping these other gods, what are we doing? Oh, going back to our the sexual moral law. It's moral under the God of Israel because he has strict commandments of, in this body, you're not supposed to have sex with nearest to kin. You're not supposed to have sex with your neighbor's wife or your brother's wife or whatever. You're not supposed to do these things. Why? One, it keeps the peace between the brotherhood. Two, it does not cause confusion. One, with your bloodline being your family tree is just straight up, and now there's a lot of defects within the children. They're not developing properly because they're too close to the main bloodline. Yeah, that's called incest. So God has certain laws pertaining to those things, and having sex with multiple people can cause diseases. You got all this fluid being mixed. Ugh. I mean, just think about it. All the fluid being mixed. You really think it ain't gonna cause a disease? Come on now. Come on now. So our God tells us certain things of how we should act, even in sex. Even he have a law in Leviticus: wash yourself afterward. But what are the other nations God's gonna do? Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I want y'all to see this, Israel. So if you're not following God's commandments, you are following a God. It just ain't the God of Israel. Now, let's go to Ecclesiastes 7:7. Real quick, before I run out of time. I got 4 minutes. I'm still not done. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Let us hurry. Hurry. I want to get some of these points out, Israel. Hey, Lord's will, y'all learning today. Lord's will. Y'all learning this fine morning. All right, hold on. In between. There we go. Ecclesiastes 7:7. All right. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So a lot of our brothers and sisters are destroyed with the other nations by the gifts that they give. I'm gonna just be real with you. All the other nations, especially Esau, Esau's like a master at it. They emote. It's like they don't really mean what they're saying. They're just emoting at you to see what you do. Almost like a serial killer almost. They're not, they're just trying to pry you to find out more information about you, or they just don't care. So with the other nations, it says that surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. So a wise man is going to be mad in oppression because he's held down. But through his anger, a wise man should do what? Use this to get out. Use this to get out. Because if he apply his mind to what God commanded, he can get out of the oppression. But then it says, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So our people have been given many gifts, many different benefits that they have forgotten the way. They have forgotten where they come from. Now, let me jump over to Proverbs 3:31. Proverbs 3:31. It says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Why would God even have that written? Because we was envying our oppressor, and our oppression. Think about it. When you envy your oppression, what are you going into? You're going into politics. You're going into the financial system. You're going into different things, education. You're going into these different things that was created by your enemies, thinking that that's going to be your way out of oppression. That's you trusting in your oppression. That's crazy, right? You are in the midst of your oppression and you're trusting in the things that your enemy gives you to get you out of that thing. That ain't going to happen. They rigged the game, brother. They rigged the game, sister. It's meant to keep you on bottom. The only way out of oppression is the repentance of your sin. That's it. So, quick recap before my time is allotted, because I'm still not done. I'll read it again. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So that goes into our diet. We're choosing the ways of our oppressor. Our dress code. We're choosing the ways of our oppressor. I'm talking about brothers and sisters outside the body, outside this understanding. We as a people, we as the nation of Israel, are choosing the ways of our oppression. And we think those are going to get us out of oppression. And then we choose and we envy our oppressor on how he lives. I want to live like that. I want to live like how Master lived. No. You're going to cause yourself to break God's commandments doing those things. So quick recap of today. We went over food, dietary, controllable eating, controllable drinking, the seasons in which to do so. We had an example out of Daniel to show about a good diet change. We also went into social recognition, going into our forefather Jacob, having that prestige name of Prince of the Power of God. Now we're going into the latter end, showing how in the world did the Prince of Power of God's people fell away from their name. All right, so we're going to continue that on the next class because time is getting away from me. All right, so all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Lord's will, y'all brothers and sisters, learn today about the different forms of covetousness, gluttony, envy, idolatry, and we still got more to go over. All right, so again, I'm gonna still keep going down this same vein until I finish it all the way out. And of course, this I'm gonna keep doing parts until I'm done. Then I can start other stuff. But all praise to the Most High, y'all brothers and sisters. Hey, y'all study, pray, apply. Hey, it was an honor teaching y'all this morning. We do have mid-morning medicine coming up next. So all praise to the Most High. The Lord put the Spirit on our leadership to give our brothers and sisters the word of God throughout the day. So if you're not on Facebook, hey, we got stuff on Upload God's Laws. We got Biblical Smoke at Night. We have classes on multiple different arenas and IUIC TV. Check it out. All right. So this is Officer Keydon from Birmingham Camp. Hey, Shalom Israel. Hey, it's always a pleasure. Hey, when I have to come up again, hey, we getting into part 3. We're gonna finish out um, recognition and relationships, and we also are going to get into power, fame, and then go into the talents and knowledge, how that can stem off into covetousness. All right. So all praise to the Most High. All the praises, all the praises. All right. Shalom, Israel. Study, pray, and apply. And Lord's will, hey, I see y'all soon. All right, shalom, Israel. Most High Christ bless.